What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GSN Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, John J. II. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on a Thursday, just about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to have a great episode in store for you. We got the Bills and the Texans going at it. The Bills' own Josh Allen took a crazy hit in the backfield. Had me a little bit worried. He was testing out the legs, testing out the movement of the extremities. It wasn't a good sight, but he got off the field and came back on, and everything looks like it's going to be okay. But a little bit concerning there from number 17. Obviously, me being a big Bills fan, Josh Allen has proven himself to be indestructible. We know this to be the truth by watching players such as Tom Brady. He was one of those indestructible quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger, maybe a little bit banged up, maybe not as injury resistant as maybe Josh or Tom, but definitely injury resistant in his own right. Patty Mahomes is another one. But let's be honest, guys. These players are human beings. So nobody is indestructible and nobody is completely resistant to injuries. So you got to prepare for that and protect yourself at all times out there, as Herb Dean would say in the UFC. But wow, let's talk about CURT CIGNETTI real quick. I know we've been lacking on the college news and the college sports front, but let's be honest. There's clear front runners when it comes to the Big Ten. It's going to be Ohio State, obviously, the Ohio State University. I hate saying that, but they're the front runners. And then you got the Indiana Hoosiers right behind them. In my opinion, they should be ahead of them. And it's a travesty that they're not playing each other in the regular season. It goes without saying that they're going to meet each other in the Big Ten championship, however. But let's just talk about our guy, CURT CIGNETTI. Is he him? It begs the question, is he him? I think he is. I really do. I think he is. He is him, and he's proven himself to be him. If you listen to him in conferences, if you listen to him in interviews, he really proves himself to be him. He sounds like he's him. He sounds like he knows he's him. And let's just say this. Indiana, they were smart to sign him to an 8-year contract extension totaling $93 million over the next 8 years. So that was a big sign up for him, especially with what happened with James Franklin in Penn State, seeing him go to the wayside and seeing that tenure end like it did. It was sad to see. But there's greener pastures ahead, and I think that goes for James Franklin as well. So, it's just the grass is always greener on the other side. And you got to look at the greener pastures that are on the other side and see what is to become of his career. And I think James Franklin has a lot to look forward to in his career. So I'm looking forward to it. I like James Franklin. Say what you want about the guy. Yes, he might not be able to win the big games like he's supposed to, like he should be able to in a whiteout situation against Oregon. But we're not going to go there. We're talking about CURT CIGNETTI. And he's proven himself with only Purdue to go on the docket. I mean, wow, this guy he's a winning machine. He's a winning machine. He's 22-2 in his 2 years at Indiana. And if that doesn't say anything, then I think it speaks for itself. But just looking at his prowess as a coach, looking at his demeanor in interviews, it really speaks for itself, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Hopefully they can bring down the Ohio Buckeyes, because I'd be first in line to see that happen, and I'd enjoy every minute of it. But that begs the question, where do they line up when it comes to the college football playoff? Now, they're definitely right there in the middle of the pack. How does things change with the 1 and 2 teams? If either team loses, do they make it automatically to the college football playoff? There's been some rules changes as far as who's allowed, who's automatically given a bid, etc. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But as of now, CURT CIGNETTI is him at the helm for the Indiana Hoosiers. Exciting stuff. Aaron Walker with a comment. Indiana Hooters. I mean, that'd be a hell of a team name. That would be a hell of a team name. I think that you might have to write that one down because I think there's some opportunity there with with a mascot representing Hooters. Okay, great wing establishment. They make some great wings, great food, great environment, great atmosphere. So I think you're onto something there, Walk Sauce. Let's move on, though. Let's talk about the rest of the Big Ten. Now, obviously, if you had to look at the standings, Indiana's at the top. They're the first in the Big Ten. And obviously, Ohio State's right behind them, but I don't know how you really split these two teams apart. Okay. And when you look at it from a broad perspective, I have to take everything with a grain of salt. I have to look at things from a broad perspective, especially with everything that's happened with my Michigan State Spartans. Now, it's not in the best of we're not in the best of moods when it comes to Michigan State football. We're moved on to basketball, and that doesn't mean we've completely forgotten about the football team because we don't want to leave them out to dry. We're never going to do that. We're Spartans for life. Go green, go white, and that just has to be said. And I know that's going to be met with resistance from the other side, from the people wearing the maize and blue. I understand that. But if you're a Walmart Wolverine, I really don't want to hear from you. I really don't. I respect your fandom to either side, but at the same time, if you didn't go to U of M Flint and if you didn't go to U of M Ann Arbor, Dearborn, any of the above, then I really don't want to hear what you have to say. And that's from a love perspective. That doesn't mean anything. I'm not trying to shoot shots at anybody, but that's just where I'm coming from. Okay, Indiana, Ohio State, USC, they're in a close third behind Ohio State, Indiana. With a big win over Oregon, that could mean college football playoff futures for them. So don't count them out. Don't count them out. They're not out of the woods yet, but they're looking for a win. They need a win at Oregon, which isn't going to be easy. And the Trojans have proven to be shaky at best when it comes to the season. Squeaked out a lot of great wins going towards the latter half of the season, but they've struggled as a team, I would say. But you want to talk about teams that are fighting from behind. And yes, I'll give Michigan the accolades where accolades are due. Okay, Sharon Moore has done a lot with this program to rebuild it from the Connor Stallions era, from basically the grunge of Michigan football, which it is. They built themselves into a solid program. And now people are going to say, you don't have room to talk because they just vacated X amount of wins from the Michigan State Spartans. Listen, I understand that, and that's unfortunate. We've fallen on hard times. That has to be stated. That's the state of affairs. I mean, we're second to last with Purdue behind us in the Big Ten standings, and with the added teams, that's really saying a lot. And looking at 0-7 in the conference, Purdue's 0-8. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough stuff, and I'd rather not talk about it, to be honest with you. Minnesota, middle of the pack. Iowa, Washington, middle of the pack. UCLA, Rutgers, Maryland. Listen, there's so many teams in the Big Ten now where it's really tough to keep up with all the teams, with every team that's involved, with the added teams from the Pac-12. Basically, the Pac-12 has been dissolved and absorbed by the Big Ten. And supposedly there's a comeback with the Pac-12. I don't know what's going on there. But looking at everything as it stands, I like it. I like it this way without the regions. Now, it's still tough because there's just not enough weeks in the year. There's not enough weeks in the football season. Unfortunately, there's not enough. But if there was, every team would almost play every team. But you just look at the amount of teams on here. And this is the Big 10. It's the Big 20. It's the Big 25 now. So just looking at it, it's a lot of teams in the Big 10. So it's impossible that every team plays each other. But just speaking on the fact that if Indiana played Ohio State and nobody has a crystal ball to see how they would perform preseason going into midseason, it'd be nice to see them play in the regular season. Now, obviously, Michigan's still got to play Ohio State. That's going to be a big game. That's the game where we pull for Michigan. We pull for the maize and blue, even if we hate them. We're going to do it. So, because no one can root for Ohio State. It's just, it's not American to do. And if you're an Ohio State fan, listen, I'll take a Michigan fan. I'll take a Michigan alum any day of the week. compared to an Ohio State alum. If you're an Ohio State alum, I'm sorry for your loss. I really am. And I got a lot of people on my side with that one, and I don't even need them. I don't even need them on my side. It's just a stated fact that is the state of affairs with Ohio State and the Buckeyes. So let's talk about something good. How about that? So we're going to talk about the Michigan State Spartans, still in the same vein of college sports. We're going to talk about college basketball, which we've moved on to college basketball. College basketball season, regardless of what anybody says, is arguably the most electric sports season on the face of the earth. The aura, the vibes, the intensity, the winner go home mentality that we see in March in the beautiful March Madness tournament, it's unmatched by any other sporting event, sporting league, sport with a ball, you name it. Completely unmatched. So that's just a stated fact as well. I mean, that's a proven fact of the matter that's where college basketball is at. And this Michigan State team has been stated by Tom Izzo, the great Tom Izzo, which is still coach. I think he should coach forever. This is arguably the best team that he's had in years. And I wouldn't disagree with him. I think they got some great additions to the team that we haven't seen that are really making a difference or making an impact. And that was solidified on Tuesday in their game against the Kentucky Wildcats. Just a dominant win. The Kentucky Wildcats are in disarray. It's just fair to say that. And to look at a leader like Jackson Kohler, playing at a forward, a glorified center, putting out 20 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Cohen Carr put up 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Not a big night for Cohen Carr, okay? But Trey Fort with 13 points. CURT with 15 points. These guys are shooting the ball with confidence. And that's what we have to see from this Michigan State team. We got to see the ball shot with confidence. If you're going to have the ball in your hands, and I see it all the time with Carson Cooper at the top of the key, and he's playing a lot better this year. He's worked on his footwork. He's worked on his offensive moves. But damn, don't give Carson Cooper the ball at the top of the key, the top of the arc. He doesn't need to be out there. He really shouldn't be out there unless he's setting the pick. Okay? And even if he's setting the pick, he really shouldn't be out there anyways. Okay? CURT, very impressed with CURT. Trey Fort, very impressed with Trey Fort. Very impressed with Cam Ward. Okay, got a couple other guys coming off the bench that are doing a great job. Okay, and this team has to be led. We said it before. They're going to try to be led by committee. Tom Izzo likes having a leader by committee model, but this team cannot be led by committee. There can be multiple leaders on the floor, but guys got to know when to lead and guys got to know when to follow. And if you can't get the cue, if you can't read the cue cards, then I don't know what to tell you. Things aren't going to end well for the Spartans if that's the case. So in my opinion, Jeremy Fears has to be the leader on the floor. He's commanding the offense. He's dribbling the ball down the court. If he shoots the ball, I hope he shoots with confidence. He's still got some work to do. Free throws have gotten a lot better, but we still got to work on free throws if you're Michigan State. Going back to that San Jose State game, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, especially for Tom Izzo. He wanted to see better free throws, a better free throw percentage across the board for the team. You got to convert from the stripe. If you can't convert from the stripe, then you should start there. And that goes for any team, any league, any caliber. If you can't shoot from the stripe, you got to start there. Then dribble, drive offense. Try to avoid the drive and dish. That's what the NBA is for. Okay? Find the open man on the key. Find the big man. Find Carson Cooper for the alley. Find Cohen Carr for the alley. These guys should be making runs at the basket every single drive. They really should. And it should be embedded in the offense. So I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. There's still some polishing that has to be done, but at this point in the season, usually there's a lot more work, a lot more reconstructing, a lot more reinventing of the wheel that has to be done thus far. I'm not seeing that in this Michigan State team. So I like what I see. I hope I continue to see more of it. And we're going to have to see more of it if this team wants to be good. And if Izzo wants to get another one, it's got to be with a team that is playing well and firing on all cylinders. So we're excited. We want to see it happen. The Detroit Pistons, Detroit basketball. I know we're talking about a lot of Michigan sports here, but listen, this is a Michigan-based podcast. We're going to talk about Michigan-based sports. That's just what we do. Okay? The Detroit Pistons are on an 11-game win streak. That is the most they've had in years as far as a win streak. This team is it. JB Bickerstaff has this team where he wants to have them. Okay, we got to get Kyle Lutz on here, especially in the absence of Cade Cunningham. This team is firing on all cylinders. People are hinting towards the fact that Duncan Robinson might be the missing link for this Detroit basketball team. And I think they might be right. The Michigan Wolverine, nonetheless. This guy shoots the lights out, and we need him to. You need a star shooter. You need a guy that can, make a three when you have to. And it's just exciting stuff. It's fun to watch him. Okay, it's fun to watch this unit perform and play against some of the best teams in the league. And I say, some of the best teams in the league. The Detroit Pistons have claimed their own spot as the best team in the league, the best team in the East. They're first in the East right now. Now, they got to play well, exemplary basketball to carry on and make it to the end. But, and I don't want to say this too early, this team could be it. This team could be the one that does it and gets back in the champion circle. And I think they could. They've acknowledged the fact that they're a dirty team. They've acknowledged the fact that they're dirty dogs, that they're barnyard dogs, and they're going to come after you, and they're going to bite, and they're going to claw, and they're going to do what they have to do to win these games, no matter how gritty, no matter how dirty it gets. So I like to see that. That's kind of even embracing some of the Dan Campbell mentality that he's brought into this Detroit Lions team. So I like what I'm seeing with the Pistons. Hopefully they can continue this win streak and maybe even convert in the midseason tournament, the NBA Cup. I'd love to see them do it. I think it's very possible, very much in the cards. They're playing dominant basketball, even when they're down their main guy. Okay? And it won't be for long. But when they're down their main guy, they're still playing great basketball. They're still playing as a unit, and they're still getting the job done. So I love what I'm seeing with the Detroit Pistons. In the same vein, now, Rocky Ya-Sin. We know what I'm talking about. The play towards the end of the game, A.J. Brown, short pass. He goes out for the pass. There might be some touching going on, and I got to talk to Robert about this. I got to consult with some of my NFL guys about this. But damn, was that one of the worst pass interference calls in the world? Now, say what you want, and I've already took this stance, and Lions fans have taken this stance. We never, when I say we, I'm talking about Lions fans, we never should have gotten ourselves in that position. Never. Because we got ourselves in that position, we had to claw from behind. We had to find a way. Okay? Jake Bates makes a long field goal in the wind in Philly when it mattered. That was huge. That got the ball rolling. Clock management from the coaching perspective was good. I thought it was very good. Timeouts were conserved when they had to be. Timeouts were used when they had to be, which was that final drive. And we're already talking about garbage time. Okay, this is garbage time. The Lions have already lost the game. Perspectively, looking at it, even Lions fans would say it. But then you have the final drive. You have the two great defensive stops. You got a 3rd and long. And the back judge, the deep third judge, throws a flag for a pass interference on Rocky Ya-Sin. Now, it's the icing on the cake. And it really is par for the course when we talk about the Lions. But this is the Lions of old. That'd be par for the course for. The Lions of new, they get more calls. They don't get shit calls made towards them in the dying embers of the game. And most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, it's the Lions' own doing, putting themselves in a position where they're getting flags thrown at them. And they lose the game because of their own doing. Okay? So that's usually the case. That's the Lions of old. Now you get a flag thrown on Rocky Sin in the worst opportune time. I mean, this ref is throwing the game. That's a flag you don't throw. That's a flag you keep in your holster. So, unfortunately, that was just a terrible ending to the game, and it was the icing on the cake. But the Lions, I believe they're going to build from this. Jared Goff has to start doing the shuttle run. Okay, he has to start working on that 40 time a little bit. Working on some, I think he should start doing pass pro. I think he should start doing pass pro blocking with the offensive line. And I think that would help him work on his dropbacks. That'd help him work on his scrambles. That'd help him work on his backward mobility because he's not getting back fast enough. If you notice, if you watch him drop back, he's not getting back quick enough. And then from there, he's not able to scramble, move laterally with the football and be athletic with the football in a manner that will allow him to get positive yards. So that is what led to the downfall. The defense played out of their minds. Okay, the defense played out of their mind. I have no gripes with the defense, especially playing against a great, solid, mostly healthy, incredibly healthy, actually, Philadelphia Eagles team. The defense played well. The defense did their job. The offense didn't convert. The offense didn't find gaps. The offense didn't make it happen. And that's just the moral of the story. But it still should be said, they never should have got to that point in the game, and they also never should have had that flag thrown on them. So it was a couple things that never should have happened wound up happening, and that's why they lost. So I think they'll become better from it. They'll be better people because of it, and I'm I'm looking forward to what they're capable of doing. We got the ski mask boy in the comments. Texans are winning. Texans winning, Johnny boy, he says. Now, I know who the ski mask boy is. And listen, it's halftime, okay? Okay, Big J, all right? It's halftime. We're playing on Prime Video. We're playing on Thursday night. I mean, listen, the Buffalo Bills are seeing red, and that's because the Texans are wearing completely red jerseys. Now, red is one of my favorite colors, as you guys might know. So I like those jerseys. I like them. I also like the whiteout jerseys that the Buffalo Bills wear. But unfortunately, they played one of the worst games I've ever seen them play wearing those jerseys. So I won't be mad if they never come back. So we got a 16-20. We got a banged up Josh Allen in the pocket. He's going to be finishing this game more than likely. And if he finishes this game in more than one piece, we're going to have problems. But at the same time, if he stays healthy for the rest of this game and takes some more hits, still runs the ball like a madman and puts his body on the line, I mean, this guy's out of his mind. But we need him to do that. And you talk about a team with unfinished business. It's the Buffalo Bills. Okay, but the same can be said. The parallels were drawn with Robert Rocco. The parallels have been drawn between the Bills and the Lions. And there's other teams that are in that category as well with unfinished business. With business that needs to be finished and hasn't been. So let's see one of these teams make a difference. Let's see one of these teams finish the job, get over the hump this year. That's all I want to see. One of these teams get it done. Okay, we're going to talk about the World Cup. Okay, the World Cup is coming up in 2026. We're excited. We're looking forward to it. And it's exciting stuff. Now, obviously, the Azzurri, they're my team. They're Italy. They're the Blues, whatever you want to call them. They won the Euros in the 2020 Euro Cup. Listen, this team is my favorite soccer club. Okay, they got their asses kicked in the last game of the group phase by Norway. Erling Haaland, out of his mind, 2 goals in 2 minutes. This guy's unstoppable. Okay, and he proved that the other day when they played. Now, what has to happen? Italy has to play in a playoff, and they've done this the last 2 World Cup cycles. They played in the playoff and lost. Okay? They have to beat Northern Ireland, then Wales or Bosnia to return to the World Cup. It's a playoff scenario. Okay, now Wales is no team to sleep on. Northern Ireland, they shouldn't be beat or they shouldn't be lost to. But it's happened with worse, okay? You're talking about North Macedonia kept Italy out of the last World Cup in 2022. And we're talking about a team that's coming off a Euros win. Okay, this is a good Italy team that lost to a team that is a no-name team. Okay, and if you're from North Macedonia, I apologize, but you know where I'm coming from. You know where I'm coming from. In the world soccer platform that we're talking about, that we're dealing with when it comes to World Cup qualifiers, North Macedonia shouldn't beat Italy. Let's just put it that way. That's a crazy upset. I'd love to see the line for that game, especially with the Italy team that just beat, England in the Euros championship. It shouldn't happen. Okay, it shouldn't have happened in the previous cycle either, in 2018. We haven't seen Italy in the World Cup since 2014, and that's when I graduated high school. That's over 10 years ago. And that just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. It's not logical for that to happen. So when we see these things happen, it's concerning. But there's other teams that are in the mix as well when it comes to the World Cup. Let's look at who's qualified for the World Cup. So the host nations, U.S., Mexico, and Canada, the North American World Cup, they get an automatic qualification because they're the host nation. Then in CONCACAF, you got Panama, Haiti, Curacao. Then you got Japan, Iran, Uzbekistan, Australia, South Korea, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Algeria, Ghana, Cape Verde, South Africa, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Argentina in CONMEBOL, Ecuador, Brazil, Colombia, Uruguay, Paraguay, New Zealand, England, France, Croatia, Portugal, Norway, Germany, Netherlands, Spain, Belgium, Switzerland, Austria, Scotland. Okay, now you're talking about all these teams. Now, majority of these teams qualified. They paid their dues. They made it to the final standings. Now you have X amount of spots. It looks like 4 spots, maybe 2 more with the intercontinental playoff winners. So you have 6 total spots. You have 4 for the UEFA playoffs. Italy needs one of those UEFA playoff spots. But even if they make it, with what I saw the other day, I mean, you see a dominant win. It's like you don't know which team you're going to get. It's kind of like the Buffalo Bills. It's kind of like the Detroit Lions. One day you have a dominant team. And I don't know why this is the case with so many good teams that should be good. On paper, they're good. And you'll see them play in certain scenarios against certain teams. And you'll be like, this team can't be beat. This team's invincible. This team is impenetrable. And then you'll see them on other days, other nights. And it's like, who are these guys? Are they the same team? They don't look like it. They look like a completely different team. That's how I feel about the Azzurri, and it shouldn't be the case. Figure it out. That's all I'm going to say. They know how to do it. They know how to play soccer, okay? Figure it out. Get the job done on the pitch. Don't make it a three-peat for not qualifying for the World Cup in 2026. Don't make it a three-peat. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. It is what it is. I shouldn't have this conversation. This shouldn't be a topic. This shouldn't be a bullet point for the GSN podcast on a Thursday. Okay? It really shouldn't. Looking at the pro capper, we got a big game this week against B. Smitty. Now it's gonna be a good matchup. Now Smitty hasn't had the best season. We're not gonna rag on him for it. We're not gonna talk about certain things in certain lights when they really shouldn't be talked about. But let's be honest. It hasn't been the best season for him. Now he mentions that he was at a concert during the draft. Now, do I buy that? I don't know. I don't know if I buy it. I don't know if I don't. I think it's an easy cop-out to have a terrible draft, to expect big things, expect the world from the season, and then it doesn't pan out the way you wanted it to. Okay, now you can't create the ideal outcomes in every fantasy matchup. That's just not possible. And it's not just Smitty that things haven't panned out for. Okay, we're looking at Morty at 4-7. We're looking at poor Bobby Ransom. I love Bobby. Bobby's one of my best buddies. Sitting at 3-8, same record as Smitty. Not the best, but I have to lend my hand with a word of advice to both these teams, to all these teams that are facing these adversities. Keep your head up. There's always next year. And what are you going to do differently? History repeats itself. If you don't change in the preparation, you can't expect outcomes to be different. That goes for a lot of things in life. That's not just fantasy football. Fantasy football and the pro capper, that's a metaphor for real life. This is nothing. Use those same attributes in your daily life. Don't do the same things and expect different results. Period. End of story. There's a lot of luck in fantasy football, but there's also a lot of luck in life. Create your own luck. Create your own luck. Make the opportunities happen. Bring the opportunities to you. Open the doors. If doors close, open a new door. Find a way. Rocco's sitting atop the fantasy league, the pro capper at 9-2. Leighton, the reigning champ, at 8-3. Sammy Bink at 7-4. And Anderson, Joe Anderson, at 6-5. And me, the commish, Gin Commish, sitting at 5th. Okay, now the top 6 qualify. Top 6 qualify. Lucas is at 6. Okay, then you got Tony, then you got Morty, then you got Bobby, and then you got Smitty. So there's a little bit of a bubble there. If you notice the records, 5 and 6. That's me at 5th. That's Lucas at 6. And that's Tony at 7. All of us are 5 and 6. The only thing separating us is the points for and the points against. Okay, it goes points for. If that's the same, then you go to points against. I'm sitting at 1349. The records could still change. We're moving into the final weeks. We're moving into the playoff phase of the season. Things could change. But I think after this week, we'll have a clear picture. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But we'll have to wait and see. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the finale. I'm excited for the ending. May the best team win. It gets to this point in the season where there's some luck involved. Luck is actually more involved at the end of the season than it is at any other point. Okay, if you rack up some good wins early, then that's what I did. Stayed atop the league for several weeks. Then I lost, I think, 4 or 5 in a row. So I had those insurance wins to kind of buffer the blow. But at the same time, you don't want to take 4 or 5 consecutive losses. So it's not good no matter how many wins you've built up. So keep those things in mind in your future fantasy seasons, fantasy football-wise. Good things to keep in mind. Good deal. We'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm already speaking past my bedtime here. Make sure to check us out on social media at Gin Sports Network on Instagram. GinSportsNetwork.com is our website, and find me on Twitter and IG at Gin Commish, and we'll talk more on there. Make sure to find all of our links in the bottom of this podcast in the description, and we'll see you guys here next time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Gin Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, as always, John J. II. Have a great night.